My trip to Afghanistan is one of the things I get asked about the most in person from everyone who has seen the episode.
Taking my first steps in the country of Afghanistan. I cannot believe we're inside this place right now.
Top of the Citadel.
We've been caught up in the middle of this cricket game and everyone's going crazy. Look at this. Afghanistan! Oh my god, that was amazing.
So I feel like I haven't really taken time to actually discuss what happened. We put the video out and then we kind of moved on. And although it marked my life, and I hope those of you who watched it, I feel like I didn't get to really dive in to some of the true learning lessons and realizations I got. And there's a lot of things that also happened in Afghanistan that I never got to share with you. And I want to take this video to dive into that right now. First of all, my decision to go to Afghanistan was extremely difficult. I had a bit of a fallout with my family, who understandably were very worried about this decision.
Aucune ambassade, t'as pas un pays au monde, tout le monde te dit il faut absolument pas aller mettre ses pieds là-bas.
There was tension between the French president and the Islamic world based on some things that the French president had said. And although I'm Swedish, I am holding a French citizenship. And the French government had issued a warning not to travel to places like Afghanistan. And so noise from the news could not have been worse. But I also knew that the news is not how you decide to go or not. You have to ask the people that are currently there what the situation really is like. And although I'm not recommending that any of you go, because it is still a very dangerous place to travel to, I knew that with our guide, Noor, that my friend Drew had traveled with a year prior, that we'd be taking every single safety precaution there is. And when I was thinking about what stories I'm passionate in doing and filming, telling a very meaningful and impactful travel story was what I was interested in. And for me, one of the primary reasons why I like Seeking Discomfort is because it completely challenges my pre-existing beliefs. Whether it is pushing my physical limits, or trying something new, or going to a place or meeting people that I'd never been exposed to before, I know that I'm gonna come back to my regular life with an expanded perspective and openness towards the world. And the craziest thing that happened is that on my way to Afghanistan, I got the worst food poisoning I probably have ever had before. I was at the Dubai airport. I went to this nice looking vegan place. I thought I'd eat something healthy kind of before going on this trip. And my stomach immediately started to feel very weird. And at first I thought it was just the nerves. I was like, okay, I'm probably just very nervous right now. I thought it was kind of anxiety bubbling up. I didn't know what was going on. Something felt weird in my body and I couldn't really put my finger on it. And as I board the flight and sit down, I realized that I am the only foreigner on the entire flight. I have a window seat and I'm not feeling great and I'm starting to get a bit pale. And at this point, I'm convinced that it's just because I'm nervous. I was trying to meditate on the flight, but it was just not working. I was just feeling horrible. And I look to my right and there's these two older men. This is like 4 a.m. So they're closing their eyes and I'm just looking at the exit. People are still coming on the flight and I'm just trying to calm myself down. And so at this point, I'm starting to realize that maybe there's something else going on. And the flight starts to move and literally during takeoff, like the plane is still like this. My whole body kicks into gear and I'm like, I need to throw up right now. And I look to my right and the two older men are closing their eyes. They're trying to fall asleep. And I've never done this before, but the flight was like this. And I'm getting up and just walking, you're like falling down the aisle. And obviously the flight attendant is very alarmed, sees me and tells me to sit back down. And then I tell him it's coming out right now. He ends up opening the bathroom because those are locked during takeoff. I get in. Did not have a great experience. I feel like I'm gonna throw up. I'm in the bathroom for about half an hour and then I go back to my seat. I sit back down. I try to have a sip of water, and as soon as I have a sip of water, it needs to come back out again. So I need to stand up once again, and I got up, and most of that flight, I was in the bathroom. So my trip was already off to a pretty terrible start, I think would be fair to say. I only had 4 days in Afghanistan as well, so I was very worried that my whole trip could be eaten up by me being sick. My body was feeling terrible, but luckily I got it all out and I was ready to be present for the rest of the trip. And there's 2 things that really struck me as soon as we arrived. The first is that safety-wise, this is unlike a place that I've ever been to before. The conversation about safety is kind of constant. You can't stay in a place for too long. There's parts of the city that you can't go to, or more so like as soon as you leave the city, it gets dangerous, so you can't do that. And you just have to be very mindful of where you are and how long you're staying there and with who you're with. etc., etc. And so the driver was obviously a trusted friend of our guide Noor, and I felt very safe being in Noor's presence. I felt like he was always taking care of our safety, which was a great feeling to have.
Where the f are we right now?
That was a great beard trim.
I think I was just cutting a cow foot. That was unlike anything I've ever seen.
That being said, we did have a couple of situations with police. At some point near the Blue Mosque, my turban fell off. I was trying to get it on, but I clearly couldn't, and they came around me and we had all this camera gear in the car. And secret police, who was dressed as a civilian and military, surrounded our car and immediately started asking questions. That was the first time I'd ever felt in like such an intense situation with the police. They took both mine and Drew's passports. The scary thing is when you see somebody hold your passport and you're not 100% confident they're gonna give it back to you. That is when you feel immensely stripped of any power, any influence, and you are just completely at the mercy of this person's mood, which is a scary situation to be in, but luckily that moment moved on. Besides that, I felt that every single person on the street was immensely excited to say hi to us.
What can I do for you?
Just
Nothing, man.
say hello.
Yeah, just hello. Great to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Salam alaikum.
He asked to stay for dinner, be my guest. You're very welcome to Afghanistan. Something like that.
And I'd never been invited for tea in people's houses as much as when I was in Afghanistan ever in my life.
Without offering tea, it's like they miss something. Like they don't feel comfortable.
He's offered us 3 times, so we finally took his offer.
We finally took his offer. Good. Thank you so much.
People on the streets were excited to see us and were ecstatic to know that we were here solely to visit and to explore and to learn about Afghanistan's culture.
Sweden.
Sweden.
Thank you very much.
Yes.
What just happened?
They just came up to me and asked me to try to figure out where I was from, and they were just really nice.
Making friends in Afghanistan.
Yeah, exactly.
Teşekkür. Bye-bye.
And another expectation that I had that I guess was completely disproven is that the locals there don't necessarily like foreigners or don't like Americans. And my experience was the complete opposite. People were incredibly friendly. They were very excited to see that Drew was American and I was Swedish and French and here visiting. People were excited that we were there and curious about where we were going.
He hopes the time you're having in Herat, you will have a very good time. And he says if you want to come to our house, you're very welcome.
Oh, that's so
Yeah.
sweet. That's so kind.
And as my trip was approaching its end, I started to ask myself, where is this country going to go? That was one question that I brought up to Noor. How can we help Afghanistan's situation?
I'm just really worried about the future of Afghanistan right now when I see all these amounts of beggars and kids and children with no education and they're just growing older and older. At least to help to offer a better future for Afghanistan.
I had no idea about this prior to this trip, but Noor started to tell me about his dream of starting a school.
So I'm thinking of making a new school, like a shelter, to somehow help these children, give them the money that they're earning, but instead asking them to come and stay in the shelter and educate. They're really the future of Afghanistan and they really need support.
In his experience, people are enticed to go in bad directions, largely because of lack of education. A lot of his friends, including himself, would spend a whole day working only to make 25 or 50 cents to buy a piece of bread and go home with. And a lot of kids, including a lot of homeless kids, are in these situations and have zero hopes to change that in their future. Basically to get pulled in really bad directions. So Noor's dream is to help particularly homeless children to gain an education, to lower the chances of people joining the Taliban. And as many of you know, Seek Discomfort was able to make the first $10,000 contribution to Noor's school. As a part of this video, we're releasing Seek Discomfort clothing, and we would love to take some of the proceeds from that and contribute to your school.
Oh, that would be so nice.
And so we're thinking of bringing you $5,000 to $10,000.
Wow, man, that's I can immediately buy like a piece of land for the compound.
Is that true? Okay.
Yeah. Like my whole saving from last year was 4,000, and I separated that 4,000 for the kids. And yeah, this is nice of you, man. This is like really touching, man. You know, man. I'm about to cry, man. Just be proud of you guys, man. And I'm sure this school will be a good thing one day. And I will remember that you guys were almost the first people who helped me with this.
But as you can imagine, you need a lot more than $10,000 to start a school. And one of the most reoccurring comments I saw in the Afghanistan video is, how can we directly donate to Noor? How can we help the school? And in fact, there's 2 people from the Yes Theory community that ended up flying out to Afghanistan, helping Noor set up a crowdfunding campaign that ensures that Noor sees 100% of the money raised. I was blown away to hear about this. But I do know that many of you are interested in helping find solutions to places that are struggling. The best way at this point right now for you to be able to reach across from your screen and have a direct impact is through the link in the description below. 50% of this is not just us contributing. It's our Yes Theory audience is very passionate about helping to create a positive change around the world. The fact that they're going to know about this, I'm sure everyone's going to be really excited to help you in other ways. There might be other people that are watching this that think like, hey, I can help. Even if we've all grown up in very different circumstances, in very different parts of the world, we are one human community. And I think the news every single day tries to remind us that is not the case, but we really are. There are plenty of band-aid solutions, like going out and trying to catch all the Taliban and whatnot, and that's what they've been trying to do for almost 40 years, and it's clearly not going anywhere. And so a bet that I'm willing to make is that education, no matter what, is definitely going to have a massive positive ripple effect. Because as Noor said, there is no better way that we can help Afghanistan today. And Noor, I cannot wait to see your school. I hope that when the building is ready, that I'll be able to make it back out there and visit. And I'm excited to be able to take all of you along on more eye-opening trips. I have plenty of more stories around the world that I am excited to tell. Thank you for watching. Please hit subscribe and like this video. It would mean the world to me. And I'll see you very soon. We are currently in the middle of filming season 2 of 2021. It's been a very stressful and scary year and a half, but I hope that we are in the tail end of it and that we'll be able to host more events and meetups with all of you very soon. Thank you for watching. We'll see you soon.